What's going on, y'all? This is Philosophical from the Rap Review Room, y'all. We got another album review here with Charlie again, man. Next up, Xzibit Kingmaker. All right, cut to the intro. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? First, want to say I appreciate everybody that has liked and subscribed to the page, man. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate all the feedback and the comments. Continue to do that, of course. Also, if you're an up and coming artist and you want your music reviewed here, whether it be a track, an album, or interview, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I first ask that you subscribe to the YouTube page. Also, follow me on Instagram. Let me know who you are. We can definitely get your music played and reviewed here. This is a channel that reviews up and coming artists also. All right. What's going on, man? We got Charles here again, man. We're going to do the Xzibit Kingmaker review, man. Just a couple notes here, man. I did some research on this. Xzibit, for me, I first want to welcome, man, Charles, man. Really appreciate you making the time again, man. I know, the Lloyd Banks fans are after you right now, man, for some of the things you said on the show, man. I said,
that's light.
Oh,
Here's
okay.
funny though. Here's what's funny though. The funny thing about it though, right? I actually did take into consideration some of the feedback that they had. I haven't gone back and listened to the other songs like from that series, right? But when I went back and I listened to it like a second and a half time, I was like, yeah, I think how I rated it was how I would rate it again listening to it though. Mm-hmm. Still great all the way through. So I saw some of them was getting at me a little bit on the comments though, man. I appreciate that though, man, because like I said, I love a good banter between hip hop fans, so bro, absolutely.
Right. I mean, not to divert off of what we're here for, but I do think maybe one or two tracks like High Power. I thought High Power was a banger, man, but it was all the way at the end. But hey. Here we go. But I mean, again, Xzibit again, Kingmaker, man. I reviewed, I've been a longtime Xzibit fan, all the way since his first album, 40 Days, 40 Nights. That single was a banger, man. And then even him being kind of transitioning over to TV and some movies and here and there. So he's been kind of quiet a little bit. A couple things about this album, though, it's really interesting. I think it's a dope album, not to kind of spoil it. But I don't know if you knew, Charles, is that he released this through a collaboration, right, with Open Bar Entertainment and, of course, his own record label, Greenback Records. But what I found interesting is that who is the founder of Open Bar Entertainment is?
No, I don't know.
Conor McGregor. And I was like, wow, really?
Oh, wait, Conor McGregor?
Conor McGregor is
really? I would have never guessed that.
Right. And that's why I was like, whoa. I was like, Open Bar Entertainment. I was like, oh, okay. So, because, sometimes they collaborate with different distributions, different record labels for money and things like that. But when I saw this, I was like, man, I didn't even know Conor McGregor was kind of in the music game.
That makes, okay, so that does, so like for me, from an artist perspective,
right,
that makes sense, because one of the things that I was initially thinking is like, okay, for Xzibit to be haven't putting out any music in quite some time, the budget for the presentation of this looks like it had to be pretty significant though, bro. And that was the first thing I was thinking, like the promo on this one though, it's laid out very nicely though for someone who hasn't put out any music like that in quite some time though.
Right. And the quality is there.
Absolutely. The quality is there.
And, quite opposite of the Lloyd Banks album, you're getting some production on here that is, I'm just like, man, it really brought out Xzibit for me and allowed a lot of Xzibit's lyrics on here. We'll get a track by track breakdown on it. But kind of give your beginning thoughts to Kingmaker.
Okay, so the thing I think that was dope about Kingmaker to me is that, like, I think that what I love, this is the one thing I think that's good. Since we're freshly off of the Lloyd Banks, right?
Right.
I love, this is gonna surprise you, right?
Okay.
When I tell you this in the end, but what I love about this, I love the vibe. It's a cool vibe. Now, one of the things that I particularly appreciate about this album is that it's very clear that it's a West Coast album.
Mm-hmm.
Very much how the Lloyd Banks we reviewed to me was very much a very New York album. It's a New Yorker's New York album, right?
Right,
And
right,
I am one that personally appreciates still regional sounding music, right? Like I miss when I could say, "Oh, this is a New York song. This is a New York sound.
right.
This is a very West Coast album." So I like that, but I also like the vibe of it. For some reason, more than um more than like other geographical locations. Even me being a southern guy, right?
Right.
I think that one of the things that I can appreciate about the West Coast is that it's kept its identity sonically over all the years, whereas to a lot of people latch to different elements, and some people just rode the down south sound. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the West Coast took some elements, but it still sounds very West Coast. So I appreciated the West Coast vibe to this particular album, though, man. It's I felt like listening to it that it
Okay.
was a grown man's West Coast album, though, bro.
Yep. I want to say what really kind of gravitated me toward Xzibit. I had saw a lot of videos he did from the freestyle he did, and I heard that, and I'm gonna speak about that verse in a second, and when we go through the track listing. But when I heard that freestyle, I was like, it was something different from Xzibit, and I was like, I haven't really looked out or listened to Xzibit in a while, in a long time, right?
Same.
So then I was like, you know what? Let me go back and see what music he's put out recently, right? And I went back and did If You Play This at My Funeral. And I was like, man, I
It's
was
my
like,
favorite song.
and I was, oh yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. And then he released right when I was getting ready to do a review, right? And then we had kind of spoken, he comes out with Kingmaker. And I was like, man, and that kind of talks about kind of throughout this whole album. Some of his lyrics, it's different. It's different, but it's still West Coast. It's still a nod to West Coast. It's still a nod to kind of like still staying who he is. But I felt like he was being very vulnerable on this album. We got some inspiration. We got some motivational bars. We got a little bit of everything on this album. And for me, it was kind of like, man, man, and he's got some heavy hitters as far as features on here too.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I think we got a package here um, that I didn't know what to expect coming into this album. I did
Yeah,
not know
yeah,
what to
yeah.
expect.
I think that so one of the things that I think that was very cool about it, right, is that
Hmm.
his guest list is refreshing because you got some lesser known artists all the way up to tops. Also,
Yeah,
you got some of the ones that are the current guys that are kind of holding that West Coast flag as well, though, man.
right,
And the thing I think the thing I like the most of it is that this is gonna sound crazy, but because of my affection for West Coast keeping their sound. I do like when someone from the West Coast is giving you bars though, bro.
right,
It's one of those things to me that I just like sonically to my ear.
right,
It's like I like the sound of West Coast production, but I love somebody really spitting that because it's like their stories are different from my norm, right?
right,
My
right.
stories aren't their stories, but their stories are so far where it's like I'm intrigued by it. That's it's one of the things I really love about West Coast music is the storytelling though.
Right. And I felt like on this one we got because I felt like Exhibit has a very aggressive tone, has a very aggressive cadence, and I was like, man, I didn't know what we're gonna get on this. But speaking of some of these features, it made me kind of go and be like, who is this guy? Who is that guy?
Mhm.
Right? And some of these guys I do know of, some of these guys I don't know of. But it made me kind of be like for example, who in the world is Jason Martin? That
Yes.
guy. I was like, and I went back and I was like, I think he's been on a couple Kendrick songs, and I think he's on that new Snoop album. I have to double check that.
I think so.
Which is probably another album we're probably going to do a review of, the Snoop album, which is a very surprising album.
Listen, shout out to my brother Ace, because my brother Ace said you gotta listen to the Snoop Dogg, because he said that one of the things that he said, it's a very polished album all the way through, but it's a very grown up hip hop album, tastefully done though, bro. He told me that just the other day though. So
he told me the same thing. The Snoop and Dr. Dre album, Missionary Pause, is another good grown album. That's very good album also. And this Is It a Crime album, we're probably gonna have to discuss a review on this one, because for me,
I haven't listened to it. Here's what's funny though.
Okay,
I like the Xzibit album more than the previous Missionary album, the Snoop Dogg album. I like this one.
I agree. But that album did surprise me, because I felt Snoop. This is the difference, not to venture off, right? This is the difference between the Missionary album and the Is It a Crime album. I feel it was kind of a step forward for Snoop as far as some of the production, and Is It a Crime is kind of like he's really taking it up a notch on the mature version of that, right?
We got a random question for you.
Okay.
Just because I want to know where your head is with certain things, certain topics.
Okay.
Would you agree that Snoop Dogg is the most popular rapper of all time?
I won't say he's a popular. I think I will say this. I view, and this is my opinion, I view Snoop as a chameleon, right? I feel like Snoop he's not just popular for his music, right? I think Snoop kind of went through a little bit of a transition, because remember, back in the 90s when Doggy Style came out, he was just getting out of that murder case and everything. Then the whole thing with Death Row, and then he kind of signed with No Limit. He's constantly trying to reinvent himself. He signed with No Limit. He gives so much praise to Master P. I think he was trying to constantly reinvent himself. Then you notice after the No Limit came out, he got with Neptunes, right? And that really blew him up a lot. Because he changed. Not only is he changing himself, he's changing himself musically. If you kind of follow the blueprint, after the Neptunes, right? He tried gospel, right? He tried reggae, right? And then he did come out with some albums in between that, but we didn't really listen to it. And then after that, what happens? He starts getting with Martha Stewart. He starts getting on. He was on what's that show? Isn't he on what's that show on NBC?
The Voice.
Right, The Voice. And then he gets on the Olympics, right? He's kind of
everything that you're describing, everything that you're saying is the reason why I would tell someone that Snoop Dogg is the most popular rapper of all time, because here's the reason why I would say that.
Okay.
My son, who's 15 years old, knows who Snoop Dogg is, even if he's never listened to a whole Snoop Dogg song. My grandmother knew who Snoop Dogg was. And you're talking about generational big gap of people who knew Snoop Dogg. I can't think of another person who's a more recognizable face, popularity wise, than Snoop Dogg. But that's I wanted to pick your brain on this as we were comparing Snoop Dogg.
I'm sure. We can name some. People know who Ice Cube is. People know who Dr. Dre is.
Well, okay, people do. But I think that you can put a 12-year-old.
I think people know who Xzibit is.
I think people do. But and I agree that people would know who all these people are. Right. But more people of any age would know Snoop. Snoop Dogg's been around for that long and has been relevant.
You're right. I don't think he's. You're right. I don't think he's the most. We're talking outside.
I'm not saying he's the best, and I'm not talking about the best rapper of all time. I'm just saying he's the most popular rapper of all time. No, I can't think of anyone who's been more relevant for longer than Snoop Dogg.
Okay, then that part, yeah. I agree.
That's Xzibit though. Let's talk about Xzibit though.
Well, I think
Xzibit is
where do you just to kind of where do you put Jay-Z in terms of that?
I think Jay-Z's the GOAT, but I don't think that he's
you don't
the
think
most
he's as popular as Snoop?
No, I don't. I don't think he's the most.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is that I think that here's the thing about it. I think that Jay-Z can walk in front of a crowd of white people and they won't know who he is. But I think the Snoop Dogg will. Well, listen. I'm gonna tell you this. I think if you put Jay-Z is my GOAT. I don't care what nobody say, and I defend Jay-Z as the GOAT, like he is coming home for Thanksgiving dinner in my house. Right. He is my GOAT, right? But I think that you can have Jay-Z walk past people and they wouldn't recognize him. But I think that if you had some people, but I think that Snoop Dogg is recognizable anywhere he goes on the entire world, in the entire planet, though, bro.
I think that's a good debate. I do think Jay-Z is as popular as Snoop. It's a good debate. It's a good debate. I mean,
I think Jay-Z's more private with his personal life than Snoop is, and that prevents him from being as popular as Snoop Dogg is.
Okay. Well, that's a good debate. Not the
GOAT list. Not the GOAT list.
No, not the GOAT list.
I'm talking about the most popular rapper of all time.
But I think Snoop's music is starting to get a lot more listenable. I don't even want to call it listenable because I think that's a harsh word. I think it's starting to become more. I can't think of the word.
I think the Snoop Dogg's albums are becoming cohesive. See, I would say that his albums are becoming more pure to hip hop because now that he's older, he is getting back to the essence. The thing I think that's interesting to me is that Missionary, in comparison to the Xzibit, I didn't particularly like all of the features on Missionary, and I didn't like all of the songs. Some of the songs were like, "Oh, this is Snoop Dogg." So because Snoop Dogg is so popular, some of these features made sense for his popularity, but I don't think that it necessarily was a better feature list song for song than this.
And I will say this: I do think there's some songs on Missionary that is it really Snoop? Right? Is it really kind of how much is this? And I get it. Snoop is always trying to reinvent himself. Is it more of him trying to reinvent himself musically, or is it more of let's just try this and see where it goes? Yeah, but he's got some bangers on there. Skyscrapers.
He got some bangers.
Skyscrapers, I think, is the best song on that album. But let's get back to Xzibit here, right? Are you ready to go through it track by track?
Let's do it.
All right. So this album has 20 tracks, right? Of course, and I'm gonna give my kind of feedback, a little bit of feedback on each track. Play This at My Funeral, banger. Most Vulnerable track, banger. I love this track from start to finish. Amazing intro. No disagreement there, banger.
No disagreement there. This one, let me tell you this.
Okay.
This one was the song that reminded me of why I liked Xzibit the first time I heard him. My brother put me on to Xzibit like in 96 from the Paparazzi. And then when I heard The Foundation, this song reminds me of The Foundation in that when he said I was a kid with raising a kid, and on Foundation, he's talking about when his kid was being born. So I thought that it was dope how that came full circle though, bro. Yeah.
So let me just pull up Xzibit's
Foundation is a song where he is talking about his girl giving birth, and there's a video that he has where his son is newborn on there though, man. It was one of the most it's one of my favorite hip-hop songs of all time though, man.
Okay. So Foundation was on because I loved 40 Days and 40 Nights. I thought that was his best album. I'm trying to see what Restless was also a good album. I'm trying to think. You remember what album that was on? Foundation?
No, I don't. Yeah, this was Foundation had to came out maybe if Paparazzi came out in 96, Foundation had to be like 96, 97.
Okay, so because 96, Paparazzi at this. Okay, yeah, Paparazzi was an amazing track, by the way.
Paparazzi was amazing.
At the Speed of Life was Paparazzi. Paparazzi was on that album, right? So then after that, the Foundation. Yep, that was on his first album, At the Speed of
Yeah.
Life. I
So
thought 40 Days and 40 Nights was a little better, but maybe I need to go back to this album also.
yeah. This one is dope. And I think that the one thing that is interesting to me about why I like play this at my funeral. This is again, shout out to my brother, shout out to my brother Ace. We
Okay.
got this long running thing that in our friendship, bro, where um we want certain things to happen at our funeral, right? Like make sure that they are playing these songs at my funeral. Make sure that these things. So if somebody tells you this looks weird, be like, nah. Like I'll be like, make sure, bro, that at my funeral that there's only 2 gospel songs and these are it. But also make sure that they're serving Mike and Ike's at my funeral. And make sure to bury me with some make sure to bury me with a honey bun, just because I'm really not dead and not get hungry though, bro. This song reminds me of those kind. I love this song though, bro.
I love this
Absolutely
song.
love it.
I love the video. I love the bars in this, man. And this is a banger. This is a banger.
I love it. I love it.
Second track, Everywhere I Go. I'm gonna say this, right? This is where I sometimes feel like certain West Coast beats, because I'm an East Coast guy. I'm an East Coast down south. I like that sound of production. So I think like sometimes, and it's no disrespect to the West Coast at all. I don't want this to turn into philosophical versus the West Coast, but I liked Everywhere I Go. I liked it. Typically for me, this is not the type of sound I like to listen to, but this is one of those tracks I feel like it works for Xzibit. Dim Joints has always been a great producer. He's also on this track. I'm gonna say this. I kind of wish Ice Cube was on this instead of the track he's on, because I feel like, man, that For the Love. I kind of wish Ice Cube was on Everywhere I Go instead of For the Love.
Yeah.
For the Love is a banger. I'm gonna get to that when we get to it, but yeah, Everywhere I Go is a great track. Great track, also, man.
I love it. I love it too. This was funny to me. To me, this is the funny thing. This is the kind of West Coast production that I personally like. So I love it too, though, bro. I like
the vulnerability type of West Coast tracks. This one for me, I like it because Xzibit did his thing on this. But I like this track. Dim Joints did his thing. He produced this track. Dope track.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily mad that it didn't have the feature on there, but I'm okay with it. I would have been okay with it either way.
I wish Ice Cube was on. I wish he would have put Ice Cube on this instead of For the Love, honestly. And I got a little bit of a rant for that track. I got a little bit, but I'm gonna wait to get to that track.
Let's do it.
So third track, Been a Long Time, Part 2, featuring Jen M. I believe he came out with a video for this. This was the very first single, I believe. Dope track, man. Dope track. This is that vulnerability track. Gene M, he's worked with her before on previous tracks. I think there's a part 1 that she's on. Really dope track, man. I like this. This is another vulnerability track. I like this track a lot. Really like this track.
I like it a lot, man. Real grown folk song, though, man. I like it a lot. It's one of the songs. This is funny day. It's one of the songs where if I tried to put my son onto it, he wouldn't just get it, right? And I think that it's where you can talk about a generational gap musically. So it's I rock with it real heavy though, man.
I think this is a song where you have to play it within the album. I don't think this is a single where it's like, hey, if someone says, who's Xzibit, what's the song I should listen to? Maybe this is not that song. If someone came to me and said, hey, man, who's Xzibit? Man, I saw your review. I would point it to the whole album.
Yes, I agree. And it's funny you say that too, because I think that to me, that's how I like to listen to certain people. That when you put out a comprehensive work, I'm listening to the playlist because I think one song flows to the other, and I think that playlists are intentional, right? Then there are some times where once I've gone through the playlist a couple of times, then I can say, oh, let me just skip around to the songs that I like. But I agree with you, man. It's just sometimes when you just handpick a song, it's like someone might not get it because you didn't hear the song before it or the song afterwards, though, man. So yep.
So the moment I want to say this, Busta Rhymes is a beast. You want to talk about someone that is relevant, and it just seems like the older he gets, the more I'm like, man, Busta Rhymes, beast. Also, Jason Martin. You're on a track with two heavy hitters, Xzibit and Busta Rhymes, and he did his thing on this. Xzibit's verse, because when I first heard Busta Rhymes, I was like, Busta Rhymes is about to wipe the floor with these guys.
Yes, yes.
Because this beat, it's so Busta Rhymes. It's so Busta Rhymes. And I heard it, I was like, oh my God. I enjoyed Xzibit's verse. And then Jason Martin came on. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, this is a beast of a track. I kind of want him to do a video for it. We'll see. And I like the hook on this too, man. I like the hook.
Well, listen, I think that the part that's crazy to me, right, is Xzibit got that raspy, right? Busta Rhymes got that big raspy. Jason Martin's kind of mellow compared to them. So I thought that with all things considered, with his tone being so different from the other two,
it works.
I thought he held his own. It works.
It works.
But I'm not gonna lie.
And it was a smart move to put him in the middle.
Yes.
He had Busta Rhymes. Now, I'll say it's a little unfair to put Xzibit at the end because Xzibit killed it, man. Xzibit, he had Busta, and it was typical Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes and Jason Martin came in. I was like, okay, that's a good little mix there. And then Xzibit came in, beast of a.
So listen, so this is one of the things that I think is interesting about this kind of song, right? When it comes to features, right? Because I'm always thinking, like, if I'm going to have somebody featured on a song of mine, right? I most likely am going to send them the song, and my verse is already done. Right? Like my verse is done. Just go ahead, because if the minute that I want to have a feature on it, I feel like, oh, my verse is dope. This is what I wanted to say to this beat on this song.
Right.
But then you do that and you send that to Busta Rhymes, and he's heard what you said, and he's gonna do this. I just said no, man. It's incredible though, man.
And then just imagine you got Busta Rhymes on a Xzibit probably did his verse, or maybe even vice versa, and then you send it to Jason Martin, and he's got to come in and be like, "Oh my God."
yeah. Like if he just said, "Here's the hook," write a verse to it, right? That's one thing, and then we put, if you didn't hear each other's verse, that would be one thing. But I'm talking about to have a verse done, and to send it over to Busta. It's like it's tough knowing that the dragon is gonna come out at some point, though, man. Great song, though, bro. Great song. I like it. It works.
Earth is over, right? Earth is over is it's a cool track. I felt like it was a cool track. I felt like maybe if he would have put this a little bit further down, a little bit for me, because it kind of came out of nowhere. You got been a long time. The moment the Earth is over, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool track. I don't dislike this track. I think it fits within the album. I get it. What were your thoughts on the same thoughts?
Oh, about the same thing. Relatively short song, so I'm not mad at it. I think, as a matter of fact, it's the shortest song on the whole album. I thought that it's one of them ones that it's a good album song to me, though. Bro.
Right, and I feel like he put this on here because he wanted a track where, we're 5 tracks in. Let me get something in here, just me. So, I get all that because all the other 3 tracks outside of Play This at My Funeral has features. So, I get it. So you felt the same way about Earth is Over?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, Leave Me Alone. Leave Me Alone is kind of that. Well, Swiss Beats did this beat, first of all. I'm not the big. I mean, Swiss Beats to me is cool. It's cool. Ty Dolla $ign on here was a little bit of a surprise. Dr. Dre's verse was cool. I felt it was cool. I felt like this was just an okay track to me. I thought it was an okay track. I thought it was cool.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a casual song. It's something to kind of maybe a potential radio hit. And you got Dr. Dre on it. So Dr. Dre does carry some weight. So I do get it. So I'll give him. I thought it was just okay. I haven't really gone back to listen to this track.
So this is the thing that's crazy. As crazy as it sounds, I like Dr. Dre rapping. Part of that is this. I think that because I don't, there's in no world in my head that Dr. Dre is writing the raps, right? So just like I think that when he does rap, someone wrote him a dope rap. I've never heard, when you think about it, I've never heard a whack Dr. Dre verse, because if he's gonna rap it, it's gonna be fire. So I thought that was cool, and
Right.
I think that the part that's interesting is that I've never heard Ty Dolla do any sign like anything whack. Like outside, I didn't particularly care for his collabs with Kanye
Oh,
necessarily,
that's a
but
totally different video, man.
but
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
typically like most things that I hear him on though, man. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
I think that again, very West Coast vibe though, bro. I think that
yeah.
it fits with the constraints of the album or the theme of the album. This
And I'm
song
glad
does
you
it for me,
said that
man.
because Ty Dolla $ign is from California, so that is a
Yeah.
good nod there. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think this track is cool. I think we could have got a little bit more Ty Dolla $ign on this. I think it's cool.
So yeah.
I think we
I
kind of
think
got
it's a
a
good. I think the Ty Dolla Sign and Dr. Dre is a good feature for that song though.
right, right. It's a
Yeah.
cool track. I mean, it's something. I think again, Dr. Dre on a track carries some weight. You gotta
Absolutely.
carry some weight, so it's cool. It's
Absolutely.
cool. I'm telling you, Belly of the Beast is a monster track, beast of a track. This is another track. Jason Martin killed it, man. I like the hook, Belly of the Beast. I beast of a track, man. Really, really dope track, beast. What are your thoughts on it?
I think dope. I think dope as well. Again, like I'm still like Jason Martin's still new to me, right? So it's like
Right.
the more I'm hearing him, the more I'm liking him, though, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like it kind of got me looking forward to some
You,
bigger
you,
projects for him, though.
when I first heard Jason Martin on The Moment and then Belly of the Beast, I was like, is this Nipsey? I was like,
Listen,
he sounds like Nipsey Hussle. I was like,
I'm
ooh.
gonna tell you this. You know what I think? I think that I thought he sound. This is probably not an unfair
Okay.
because I'm a big Kendrick fan, but
Okay.
it sounds like Nipsey with a Kendrick Lamar delivery.
I agree. I felt sound like Nipsey with a little bit of Wiz Khalifa flow.
I can see the influence of them on the rap style, though. Absolutely, though.
But
I like him a lot, though.
Lyrically and energy, I do hear the Kendrick. I do hear the Kendrick on this. I do hear that.
I think I have a rule of thumb, right? That if I hear you 2 times and I don't think that you're whack, I probably like you. And I've heard him now 4 times ever, and I haven't thought he was whack. So I'm like, all right, you're in the door. Let me see
what you got. Let me hear an album from you. Yeah, let me hear what you got. That's kind of how I feel. I think he does production too, which is very interesting. I can't wait to hear what he does because I know he's been on a lot of tracks.
Shout out to all the rappers that do production though. It's harder than what people think, man.
It is very difficult. It's very difficult. Yeah.
History
to me. This is another one of those tracks I felt like. I mean, we're at track 8 right now. I don't know. I could have done without it possibly. I thought History was cool. It was cool. I mean, if we got more of these type of tracks on the album, a little bit, kind of displaying that a little bit. It's a short track. It's a short track, so I'm appreciative of that. History, I felt was cool. It's cool. It works within the album, but if it was off the album, I'd be okay with that.
I think the same thing about History and Genesis as well.
I like Genesis.
Both of those, but I like think Genesis. That one of the things that I think that's cool though, right? Pairing those 2 songs up where they are, it's like History makes me like Genesis that much more because I agree with you. History is good placement. It sets up Genesis to be the one that I like a little bit. Yeah. It's like the alley-oop for it though, man. So yeah. Now
I think
Genesis
was kind of a nod to the ladies a little bit. I like Genesis. I think Genesis is a radio hit. I think it's a semi-radio hit. I like Genesis on that. I like the hook on Genesis. I like his verses on Genesis. It's very different for Xzibit. So I like Genesis. History, it's a good setup for Genesis. I mean, because you can't do Belly of the Beast and then come right into Genesis. So I do get it. So sonically, placement wise, yeah, I get all. I get it. To be honest, I never really went back to Perfect Alibi. I didn't go back to Perfect Alibi. Stallone was cool. Perfect Alibi. I think Genesis and Perfect Alibi is a little bit too close together.
I'm not mad at that. I did. It's the one song where I was kind of like, it's straight.
Right. It's straight. It's cool. It's cool. American Idol, beast. Simba. Simba. Do you know who Simba is?
Yes.
I've been following Simba for a long time, man. He had
I'm new to Simba. 2 years I've been listening to just
Right.
2 years ago was the first time I heard him.
Right.
And he had a joint where he went over to I think he went over to Nigeria to shoot the video. And I thought it was
are you
fire.
talking about the mixtape he had with DJ Drama?
It might have been.
That was a
But there's
great
a song.
mixtape.
There's a song that he did.
Okay.
So the Drama mixtape was the first one that I heard him outside of him doing freestyles, right?
Right.
I've heard him on radio shows just showing rapping skills. Pure rapping, I think, is top notch. I think that the one thing that I am curious about, though, when it comes to Simba specifically, is because, like you said, I heard him on the Drama, right?
Okay.
But when it comes to making an album and there's a feel for it, I just wonder. I'm curious on what a professionally executive produced album would sound like from him, though, bro. Like when you gotta check certain boxes for him. But I like Simba, and I like that particular song.
You like when he works with one. You would like to see him work with one producer.
No. I don't. You don't have to work with one producer, but I do think something of albums that were executive produced. Right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you saying, all right, you know what? Like an executive producer isn't going to make your beats, but they're going to make sure that your album has a flow, right? That it's a theme and that certain things fit. And I think that that's what I'm waiting to see from Simba. Because it's like when you do a DJ Drama, it's a gangster grill. So it's basically all street music. And so I think that when it says so it's like this. I think that him doing a gangster grill or him doing a tape, I think would be like a West Coast version of the Lloyd Banks project, right? But an album is gonna sound more, not sound like it, but it will have to have some kind of theme, like an Xzibit.
Right, but he's a storyteller. He's a storyteller and conceptual type of rapper.
Right.
I feel like he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna do a lot of what I call just tracks just to be doing tracks. They're gonna mean something. So I feel like
so too, man.
And it'll be interesting to see what his album is gonna sound like. He's been on a lot of features lately. I'm very interested to see what he does. But American Idol, we're picking it right back up right now with this album. We're starting with American Idol a little bit. Simba, Beast of a Verse. Xzibit, a Beast of a Verse. The next track, Crash. Oh my God. It's good to hear Royce the 5'9" again. Killed this.
Always.
It's good to hear. I've been wondering. I was just talking to Soul Logic about this. Where is Royce the 5'9"? I don't know. You know, where's Primo 3? Where is that? You know what I mean? Like it's good to hear Royce the 5'9". Also, I don't have it here in my notes, but also Kanan was on this also. Kanan, I hope I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not, but Kanan did the hook on this. But yeah, Xzibit did it. Xzibit's freestyle is this verse, is Crash, which was interesting. So it's good to hear.
I'll tell you this. I love Royce the 5'9". The last time I saw Royce the 5'9" outside of his own project, I saw him do a song with my guy Toby and Giwe. And I love that feature on there. But I like Royce every time I hear. And this is the thing that's crazy. I think that Royce the 5'9", anytime that I see him on a feature, I know he's gonna snap though, bro.
Well, so, he does. Man. You know he does his own production too.
Yes.
So, yeah. And then I've always give Royce his respect, man. Anybody that can keep up with Eminem is just, he just. But Crash, man, Crash is a banger, man. It's a banger.
Crash is a banger, bro.
So let's get to my rant. Let's get to my rant. For the love. You're on a classic Mobb Deep Quiet Storm beat, right? This had the potential of being a banger classic. Call Havoc. Call somebody. I just feel like, man, we could have got a higher profile feature on this, man. I mean, the hook is perfect, the beat is perfect, sample. Xzibit did his thing on this. I just didn't like Ice Cube on this. I feel like we could have done without Ice Cube on this. For the Love is a banger of a beat. verse. I just didn't like the feature for me for Ice Cube did not work. No disrespect to Ice Cube. I haven't finished listening to his album, but again, it just didn't work for me. There are countless rappers we could have probably called to put somebody on this. I mean, we could have called Havoc. I just this could have been a track that I feel like could have been like the moment. It could have been like the moment. Put this could have been Xzibit and two other rappers on here. I'm sorry. I just this type of beat, this type of sample, and what we got, I just didn't do
it. So okay, so you would be looking for somebody who's going to be more bar heavy on that particular sample.
Yeah.
Now is that okay? So is that because
of the sample, the beat? Yeah, all of it. I mean, Xzibit did his thing on here. I mean, who I would have.
I wouldn't be mad if Royce was on this.
See, I like Royce on Crash, so I mean, maybe not Royce. I mean, you could have called King Crooked. You could have called. I mean, you. I mean, there's a plethora. If you wanted to keep this West Coast, there's a plethora of artists. I mean, King Crooked would have killed this. Crooked, I would have.
I'm not mad.
What's the other guy's name? What's the other guy that was in Slaughterhouse? I always forget his name. I'm sorry. Joel Ortiz. You could have put Joel Ortiz and Crooked Eye on this, and it would have been. I get it.
Crooked would have made the most sense because of the West Coast feel of it, though, right? Hell, I think that the only artist that's not like a West Coast artist on this whole album is Redman, and so
Redman. I'm gonna get to that track also. I'm gonna get to that track. I'm gonna get to that track also. Yeah. Other than
I'm not mad at the idea, right? I just think that I mean, like, I'm not mad at Ice Cube being on it either, right? I don't think
it fit. I just don't think it fit. I would have put Ice Cube on everywhere I go. I think that's a better placement for Ice Cube. You don't think so? You like Ice Cube on this?
I'm not mad at Ice Cube on it. I'm not mad. I'm not like overall like this. I think to me I like the vibe of the song. Like, see, this is my thing.
I like the vibe.
I think that it feels like I think that you're comparing it to Quiet Storm and not just the sample, because you're thinking like.
I'm not comparing it to Quiet Storm, but we gotta call a spade here. I mean, the beat is what it is. It's a sample of Quiet Storm. You're using the classic beat like this? Like, come on. This is where we could have got a battle on this.
So this is my thing.
Okay.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I like that they didn't do it that way. That would be too easy. Right? That would be too predictable. Because then here's the thing about it. Because then you're re-rapping Quiet Storm. You're doing a mixtape to Quiet Storm. You're not, at that point though, bro, it's not For the Love. It's Quiet Storm, right?
That's what I said. Like, you could have had the same For the Love. It's like basically he's talking about the love of the West Coast. You're telling me you couldn't put somebody else on this? Is that what you're telling me? That's basically, it would have been a banger.
This is gonna sound crazy.
Okay.
You know who I would love to have seen on it? Keep Ice Cube on it. Ice Cube on it.
Okay.
Right?
No disrespect to Ice Cube. I don't think Ice Cube's voice cadence fits on this beat.
See, I'm not mad. See, this is I don't. If you gonna say For the Love and you already got, unless you're gonna put Snoop on here, like if you're gonna really be talking about this is For the Love of the West,
been a perfect feature on this too.
Yeah, you gotta have one of them real West Coast vets.
Okay,
I think that Snoop Dogg, I would even love to hear E40 on this. I think that E40 doesn't, because I think then you can go with the Mount Rushmore, the Mount Westmore theme of having those two.
Good point. Yeah,
but I think E40 would have. I think that what I would have seen is E40 really talking slick, and not to say he's going to give you the craziest bars, but I would have loved to hear E40 just talking slick on this, like kicking some slick game. I think that would have been fired.
Now I will say this. If we had Mount Westmore on this, like it was Snoop, like you said, Snoop, Xzibit, of course on here. We got Too Short, and we got E40 on this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have been. Yeah.
I think now it'll be interesting to see and hear. We got Ice Cube on this already, right? If you kept Ice Cube's on verse on here, it would have been interesting to hear what E40 would have done on this. And actually, Too Short, it would have been interesting to hear what Too Short would have done on this. And Snoop.
Yeah.
I
think I know what Snoop would say. Yeah, I think I would know what Snoop would say. But I would love to, and people, listen, I know people who absolutely hate E40 though, Mel. Before a feature, E40 will slide on a feature. Listen, maybe I just been one that just
E40 will work with anybody. He'll work with anybody, right?
Yeah. I love, so maybe it's just me because, my family's originally, before we were Texas, my family's originally from Louisiana. I remember my first concert that I had ever seen, it was Mystical and E40, way back before Mystical even signed to No Limit, right? And so that was my first concert ever. And E40 was, he had went to Grambling State out in Louisiana, and he had been affiliated with Master P for a little while and did some songs with them. But I've always been like an E40 fan though, man. I thought that but I thought he would slide on this though. But I like him he's one of them people where I think that he is perfect for a change up on a feature though, bro.
I'll take it a step further. Like I knew who E40 was, but what really got me really gravitating to E40 and kind of really listening to him, baller blocking.
Baller blocking.
And it was such a surprise. I was like, E40 is killing it. I was like, okay, now I got to really pay attention to E40. And then he had his run. That track he had with, he was on the Lil Jon joint. He was on, and he had a couple of Lil Jon joints he was on. I was like, man.
Tell me when to go is still my joint though, bro. Like, tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. It's so hard. But I think that the fact that E40, like when I first heard E40, bro, I was like in middle school, like 6th grade.
Yeah.
Right. And then to think that I've heard him again relevant in the later in the 90s.
And he's still going now.
Forward, still going though, man.
Man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Respect to E40. I think he would have been, I think Mount Westmore would have been perfect on this song as a whole. But I'm not mad at Ice Cube.
I'm not mad at it. It's not a nod. It's just I like the track. It's just for me, I was like, that. When I first heard this, I was like, oh, okay. And then I heard Ice Cube's verse. I was just like, I get it. But I don't know, man. It's just, for me, I feel like that Mount Westmore would have been perfect on this. And who knows? That could have been the case. Who knows?
Yeah.
Shut your mouth, right? I'm going to say this, right? This is one of those West Coast beats that I don't really feel. I feel like this sound for me doesn't really do it for me. And I know that it's the sound. It's a sound. It's a West Coast sound that for me personally, I've never really gravitated towards. So for me, I know a lot of people like it. It's needed. It's needed, especially on this track. But it's just a cool track. No disrespect to this sound. No disrespect to the hyphy sound and all that. And I understand why it's here. But the way you're laughing, I know you love this track.
I love it, man. I do. And listen, I haven't heard a Butch Cassidy hook in quite some time, though, man.
Right, him and Snoop.
Listen, I listen. I'm gonna tell you this because this is one of those. This this beat almost reminds me of like a Battle Cat beat, right? It's like that era of West Coast, and that this particular sound is one of those very regional sounds. When I hear it, it says LA though, right? It just screams it to me. And I like it though, man. It's like when I saw the video for it, and I said, oh yeah, when I first heard it, I said they gotta have lowriders in it.
Right.
Put it on, they had the lowriders.
Right.
It is very much it's what I would think as just a hip-hop fan. When I think of LA music, that's the kind of production that I would think the first one of the top 3 sounds.
I think E40 would have been perfect on this too.
E40 would have been perfect on this too.
Perfect on this. Perfect. But yeah, I thought it was a cool track, man. I want to say this about Higher. I want to say Be Real. I'm a very big fan of Be Real. I like Be Real all the way back to the Cypress Hill days. I love his projects with Burner. Be Real is a beast, right? Xzibit did his thing. I want to say this about Redman, right? I reviewed Redman's album. I reviewed the video he did with Method Man. I've given my thoughts on Method Man and kind of Redman should come out with an album again. But I need some type of mature rap from Redman. I need this mature rap from Redman. And when I hear this, I'm just like, man, I just feel like that's the step. And by all means, I like the Redman album, but it's I don't know, man. It's just for me, Redman is kind of getting into territory for me. Is that I need the mature Redman. I need to know what the type of rapping he would be on some of these mature, vulnerable tracks. And I did get some.
So you think Redman still sounds like the 20-year-old Redman?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's completely different when he's on a track with Method Man. It's completely different. Think about it. It's completely different. Be Real, I'm telling you, that is, and Be Real is another relevant rapper that is just staying relevant, doing his thing. But Redman to me, man, I just feel like I need more. And I would love to have a sit down with Redman, and we can have a definitely discussion because I like the album. I like the tracks on there, but again, this track reminds me of like I need a little bit more. I don't think I think the bars are a little outdated. I don't think people are like clamoring for that. I don't think people are clamoring. Let me know. Are people clamoring for this Redman? You think people will like this?
So I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It's what I expect from Redman. Yeah, but maybe it's because this is all I've gotten from Redman, right? Okay. When you say you set aside the Method Man, it's like it's like if this is what my fans want to hear, then I'm gonna give them what they want to hear, even if there's I'm gonna show you my growth and everything like that. Right. I think that this is my thing. I think that Redman is still a touring artist, right? I don't think that his artists I don't think his fans want to hear him real rap them at a concert. But I think this is the kind of song that I think that Redman fans want to hear. If I go to a concert, this is the kind of Redman song, the feature I want to hear him say.
So let me ask you this.
Weird.
Let me ask you this. Did you follow Redman before he came out with Muddy Waters 2? Were you following him? Did you see a lot of his Jack Beats freestyles he was doing? Kind of, that was the marketing towards the album. Did you see a lot of those freestyles he was doing?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
When you get a chance, go back and listen to those Jack Beats freestyles that Redman was doing. That is the Redman I need. The serious.
See, I think though that's this is my thing about it. I can't picture, this is gonna say, I think that the persona of Redman doesn't allow me to just picture him just being so serious for a whole album.
No, I agree.
Like I don't know that I want to hear.
No, I mean, don't give me like 17. That album was 32 tracks, right? Don't give me 32 serious tracks. No, but if you go back and listen to that album, right? He's got 8 skits. He's got like at least about, I would say maybe 5 serious tracks on there.
I think what Muddy Waters was kind of like that, the original. Like this felt like the last. This one sounds like it's a continuation. So this is my thing about it. This is the way I look at it.
Muddy Waters came out in, let me look, right? I mean, because
97 maybe.
97. We're in 2025.
I get it, but here's my thing about it though, right?
Okay.
I think that Muddy Waters 2 is a continuation of Muddy Waters 1, not the growth of 1 to 2. I think that it's a continuation. I think that it's like if Muddy Waters 2 would have came out in 1998, this is how it would have sounded. I think that's how I interpreted this one because it does give you a feel of Muddy Waters 1 to me.
I agree with that. And I said in my review, I said the same thing. I said, look, Redman's not the type of artist that cares about the commercial appeal, growing audience. He likes to stay within his pocket, within the audience he has. Who cares if anybody outside of that don't see Redman as this artist? Who cares, right? I said that in the review. But at the same time, it's that am I like, yeah, I respect Redman. I like Redman when he was with EPMD, when he made the albums with Method Man, him and Rockwilder. He's got a Rockwilder track on there. It's pretty dope. But again, man, it's just this right here. And I know, and again, maybe I'm taking it too out of balance because it's not his album. That's probably what he was asked to do. And I get all that. But I want to say, for me, I feel like look at Xzibit. Right? Look at Xzibit took the mature route, vulnerability route. Look at Snoop.
But the difference, though, is that Xzibit was that from day one.
Say it again.
Xzibit was that from day one.
Was Snoop though? No.
Snoop. No. So okay, that's true. I get what you mean on Snoop, though, right? But I guess my thing is that I think that Snoop Dogg's, was so this is my thing. I think that Snoop Dogg. Okay. Oh, I got.
I think rap is starting to get back to the mature vulnerability, rapping, bars, lyrics.
I don't know. Like
it's slowly getting back.
Yeah, but I've always thought that Redman was you think about it, Redman was the weed smoking jokester style rapper.
Right.
And I don't know that I want to hear a 50-year-old version of that.
But that's kind of what we're hearing on Muddy Waters too.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we're hearing on Muddy Waters too.
I hear Redman in 1998, bro.
Okay.
Like it seems like
it feels. If I were to put my mind in 1998, yeah, of course.
Yeah, this one it's because, like I said, it's to me. It's the Redman. It's the Muddy Waters Redman. 20-year-old. It's just this is part 2 of that. It ain't like let me put y'all back on to this. It ain't a fast forward or none. I think it's truly part 2 of that, though, man. I think that it could have came out in 98.
I can agree with that, right? But if we're gonna get a new Redman album, which I have been preaching on this channel, please give us a Redman and Method Man album, please, because Method Man's another good example of the mature rap. He's taking a turn. We're getting more stories. Method Man's another good example of this, right? Just killing everything he touches. But I want to hear a little bit more from that Redman. But as far as his track, Higher was cool. Redman's track verse was cool. Be Real, I think he killed it. Of course.
I don't think that you can have a West Coast album that ain't talking about smoking. And
no. I agree with that. Yeah, I'm not questioning the placement. I'm questioning. Maybe I'm being a little cynical about this. Maybe I'm being a little too serious about this, right? So let me push back a little bit. I like the track. It's needed. It's just that was my little rant about Redman. You know what I mean? It's just, and I know the Redman fans are coming after me. They already come after me in the comments. They really about to come after me on this because I've spoken my piece about Redman, but I know they are coming after me. So I'm ready for it.
They would come after me worse if I gave a review of Redman as far as where I would rank him opposed to. I don't have him. I don't have him as high as a lot of people do.
Ooh, he's out. Let me ask you this, and I don't want the fan. You got him outside of your top 50?
Maybe. I have to go back. I haven't looked at my top 50, but
I'll be interested. I'll be interested to know.
I've heard like this.
You telling me you've heard 50 rappers better than Redman?
I've heard 50 rappers say things better than what I thought I've heard from Redman. Yes.
Let us know down in the comments if you would like us to disclose.
And I gotta go back. Would you? Okay, let me ask you. Would you rate Method Man over Redman?
Yeah, Method Man's in my top 50. And Method Man doesn't have that many albums out.
Would you rate T.I. over Redman?
Yeah.
I would too. Okay. Okay, we did. Okay, so I don't think that. So okay, so
I mean, I would have to come up with
if you have
49 of the rappers. It'd be tough.
If you have T.I., and let's say if you have T.I. somewhere in your 25 range, right?
Okay.
Of 50 ever, T.I. is 25 on that list, right?
Okay.
It's like, well, where would you put? Okay,
give me some more rappers, and let's just name a couple examples.
Okay, would you put Rick Ross over Redman?
I would have to think. I don't think Rick Ross would be in my top 50. I don't think Rick Ross.
Rick Ross isn't in your top 50, but Redman is.
I said. Rick Ross would probably be. I would have to really think about it. He may be in the 40s. He may be in the.
But this, and I know that when we talk about
so would Redman potentially. I would have to think about it. But Rick Ross to me, Rick Ross.
I got you. Because let me ask you this: do you have? I'm gonna say two.
Okay,
names.
Let's talk about a couple examples, and we don't mean to veer off the track list, but give a couple examples. Okay.
You got. Okay. Now if we're gonna talk about it, let's just say for clarity.
Okay.
Are we talking about the GOAT list or the best list?
I think they're
that's
hand in
different
hand.
to me.
I think they're hand in hand.
I don't think they're hand in hand.
Your top five. Your top five is probably. I mean, like my top. I mean, for me, my top five is going to be GOATs. They're going to be GOATs. Best and potential GOATs. I think there's a tier like top 10, probably potential GOATs, and then you got some of those are going to have good to GOATs.
So let me ask you just four names. I was going to say you got Scarface better than Redman.
Yes. Scarface is in my top five. I've named my top five. Scarface is in my Scarface is 5 or 6 for me.
Do you have 50 Cent over Redman?
Yeah, 50 Cent would be in my top probably 25, somewhere around there. Yeah. 50 Cent, yeah. 50 Cent above Redman. Because 50 Cent. Yeah, definitely.
You got Ludacris.
Now I compare Ludacris to Redman a little bit. Ludacris has got better flow.
It's fair. That's fair.
He's better flow. I outside of the weed talk and all that. Well, they're kind of the same for me. So Ludacris, better flow, better cadence, more diverse. You can even say better hits.
Ja Rule. Do you have Ja Rule over him?
Ja Rule would probably be my. I respect Ja Rule for a lot of the songs he had. Ja Rule would probably be in my bottom 35.
Hey, so with that said, though, Ja Rule didn't even make the top 50 on the Complex list that they just came out, or the Billboard. He's not even the top 50.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. That's for context, though, right?
Okay. I would have to see that list. I would have to see that. Is this recent?
You have the last time they had the last time there was a big debate on the top 50 artists, right?
Okay.
They had let me just look it up. They didn't include Ja Rule on it at all.
Okay, this is a top 50.
I thought it was either Billboard's or it was Complex Magazine's list, and Ja Rule wasn't on the list.
I think this is the 50 best Atlanta rappers of all time. Rick, you talking about that, right?
This one, no. This one was for the anniversary of hip hop, for the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. They did the top 50 artists. Yeah, but then here's the other ones that I asked. Would you put Ice Cube over Redman?
That's tough.
That's the easiest. To me, that was the easiest one for me. That's when I say that it's subjective.
Ice Cube for me would be in my top 50. Ice Cube with me would be my top 50. Yeah,
he would be your top 50. Would you have him over Redman in your top 50?
That's a tough one again because I feel like they're two different artists. That's tough. I would have to think about that one. I think I will put Redman a little bit above. If we're talking classic albums, tracks,
No,
Ice Cube,
however you want to say it, whatever
I
your
would probably
criteria is.
it would probably be neck and neck. Ice Cube, Redman are probably in the same
See,
wavelength.
for me, this is the thing. For me, Ice Cube is top 20, maybe even top 15 to me. I think Ice Cube had one of the best 5-year runs musically in the history of hip hop.
I agree because yeah, I from a West Coast perspective, yeah.
No. Not just West Coast. Period. Okay. You'd be hard pressed to tell me somebody who put out better music in a 5-year span than Ice Cube. There's probably only
at that time, or we're talking about period.
Period. Ever.
Eminem, Kanye West.
No.
Yes.
What 5-year run? What 5-year run? What
5-year? That 5-year run. 5-year run. I mean, we're Kanye West, Eminem. I would probably have to keep naming some more, but I mean, if we're looking at a 5-year run, there are a lot of artists.
5-year runs. I think that there are probably in a 5-year run, there are probably only maybe 4 other artists who have comparable runs to Ice Cube. I think that to me, it's Jay-Z, it's Drake, it's Wayne, and even then, if it would depend on what 5-year.
Eminem in there?
I don't. So this is the thing. Kanye West is a tough one to me because I look at him as an artist and I look at Ice Cube as a writer, and that makes a difference to me. I personally have so this is what I'm saying. I personally have Ice Cube rated higher than I have Ice Cube rated higher than Kanye on my all-time list.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very easily. But listen,
wow.
Ice Cube had The Predator, America's Most Wanted, Death Certificate, and Lethal Injection, all within 5 years.
Okay.
And those is America's Most Wanted, classic. The Predator, classic. Death Certificate, this is 4 classic albums. This is 4 classic albums in 5 years, bro. And while I think that some people might have had good,
I think some people don't remember those albums as much. I don't think they talk about that as you just said. But I think look at Kanye, College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, 808s and Heartbreaks, My Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yes, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Kanye has some of them things though, bro. But I'm talking about when you talking about just in a you'd have to look. I'm talking about this is Ice Cube's first 5 years as a solo artist, right? We ain't even talking about or including the NWA. I'm talking about just a 5-year window of just classic. And don't get me wrong, I do agree that Kanye is one of them. But listen, people sleep on Ice Cube's discography, bro. And I am one that holds him in very high regards, especially when there's a 5-year window to me where it would be like, you know, not just during that time, like his 5-year run. And I always judge hip hop artists specifically on how much can you do in 5 years, because I think that you're only the hottest for 5 years.
I agree.
And then it's just like, after that, how long can you be relevant?
I agree. And you're forgetting about your other favorite artist who had a really good 5-year run, T.I.
T.I. did have a great 5-year run, but I don't think that it was like,
rap music, urban music. I mean, Urban Legend, King, T.I. versus T.I.P., and then Paper Trail.
I don't think that it was like Ice Cube, though, bro.
No. By all means. No. I don't want this to be that I'm comparing it. No.
Sure. No. I get it.
I'm not comparing it at all. But if we're talking about runs, I think that's a completely different list.
Yes, I do. But here's my thing about it. I think, bro, that if you're telling me in a 5-year run, let's say even Kanye, right? Okay. So Kanye dropped College Dropout in 2004. Right. 2005 he did Late Registration, and then 2007 he dropped Graduation, which is probably my favorite Kanye album.
3 years already. That's 3 years already.
Yeah, right. 808 Heartbreaks was 2008.
Okay.
And then My Twisted Dark Fantasy came out in 2010.
Okay, that's
right?
6
So
years.
if by
That's
the
6 years.
measure,
That's
so
6 years.
you can't include that into the first 5-year run though.
Oh,
So you got to include college
okay.
dropout, late
That's
registration,
4 albums.
graduation, which is still tough. That's
Right.
still tough.
Right.
Right. That's hard. I think, bro, like, but even then though, man, like when you start to look into some of the other Kanye's, for me, the last Kanye album that resonated with me was My Twisted Dark Fantasy.
Right.
Everything after that, I was just kind of like, you
I
know,
agree.
it's
But I tell you right now, you mentioned Jay-Z. I don't think Jay-Z had a great 5-year run. I'm sorry. I don't think Jay-Z. You talked about Jay-Z.
Seven straight summers. Critics might not admit it, but nobody in rap quite did it like I did it. Listen,
no.
man.
You just said 5-year run, right? A 5-year run.
5-year run.
Let's look at Jay-Z's 5-year. It's not that great. It's not his. He didn't get better until kind of after those duds. He's got some duds, man. That 5-year run, right? Let's look through here, right? Let's look through his discography here, right? You got where do we want to start here? Hold on, I'm sorry. Reasonable Doubt, right? Which was 96, right? Classic, right?
But so here's what's funny. By the way, not my favorite Jay-Z album. It's like I always have a very differing opinion.
Believe me, I've said the same thing. My favorite album is Blueprint, but
same here.
Reasonable Doubt
in my lifetime.
In my lifetime, when you're coming off Reasonable Doubt like that, okay, I give him that one. He's got some duds after that. Hard Knock Life, dud.
I like Hard Knock Life.
No, that album's not great. Stop it.
I
Life of Times of Sean Carter, dud. Dynasty, Rock La Familia. Are we going to count that album? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, that album, if we're going to count that album's got 2 classic tracks in there. Everything else is just meh, right? And then you got Dynasty, right? That's 2 classics in 5 years compared to Ice Cube, compared to Kanye. And then after that, the classics keep coming. And we're past the 5-year run.
And this is my thing though, right?
Okay.
This is the one thing that I can appreciate about Ice Cube's 5-year run, because it was just because you think Jay-Z and them was all about putting together a label, putting out other artists, yada yada yada.
But that was a different time.
Yeah, different. But even then though, right? Ice Cube was like, nah, I'm putting out these albums, I'm putting out these songs, and it's just about that though, bro. And that's why I say when you really think about some of those artists though, bro, like even when you look at it, if you exclude Lil Wayne's mixtapes, right? And you say only your studio albums, hard to come by.
It's not a great 5-year run either.
It's not a great 5-year run. And so from that regard, so bro, it's like when you do Eminem's, right? It's like Marshall Mathers LP, and then the Slim Shady Show for me, and that's it.
You forgot Infinity. Come on, everybody forgets that album. Come on, man. Come on now.
It was mid. It was mid, bro. I think it was the shock value, right? That we got a white rapper who can rap. And I thought
they didn't say that to a Slim Shady LP. They weren't saying that to a Slim Shady LP. Everybody got on Infinity later.
Marshall Mathers LP to me still is one of the best rap albums, period. It's one of the 10, I think, perfect albums though, bro. But when you talk about just a 5-year run, right, on what music somebody put out, bro, it's hard to come up with a 5-year run of anybody's 5-year run that's better than Ice Cube's though, bro. And then even if you want to say Drake has a similar 5-year run, but does Drake really have some classics?
No, I think a
lot of great songs.
A lot of great songs. I agree with but back on this Eminem Infinite, I think it's a good album. Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, The Eminem Show is a classic. Eminem Show is a classic, and then Encore I felt was cool. And Infinity. If you're not even counting Infinity, Slim Shady LP came out in '99, so we're talking '99 to 2004. That's a serious run, dude. That's a serious run. I mean, he's got 2 classics in here. We could say Marshall Mathers LP, which is decent. He's got 2 classics in here. Slim Shady LP, and I thought Uncle Eminem Show was it's a classic album.
See, I thought the Eminem Show was cool. I thought that it was a
that's
tough
the
one
Eminem I want. That's the Eminem I want. I would like back, right? But I mean, for me, Ice Cube, maybe I need to go back and listen to some Ice Cube albums.
Tough, bro. Listen, it's tough, man. Ice Cube to me,
and
bro.
I'm not saying that that Ice Cube doesn't belong in the conversation. You know, I'm not saying Ice Cube is this artist that, you know, doesn't deserve that. But for me, you know, Ice Cube is something that somebody I'm probably gonna have to go back and really like. Okay,
but relative to the Red Man. Okay, I'm just saying that to me, that's when you talk about the best and GOATs being subjective, because, like I said, I think that I can think of artists like I know that Ice Cube has said better stuff in a song than Redman has, right?
I agree.
And when I say that, I say yeah, but there are other artists who I think that have contributed more to hip hop in addition to those bars and songs than Redman. And it's not to say I like Redman a lot, but yeah, I think that I can come up with 50 other people who I would say I have them better on a GOAT list because they're greater than him of all time. Whether we're talking about best in terms of rapping skill wise, maybe that's another conversation, but I still think that I might be able to come up with 50.
I think that's something that we're probably gonna have to probably do. Let us know down in the comments if you want us to do it. I think you're spot on to that. I mean, if we're gonna have to make a list of like greatest 3, even Tupac. If we're gonna talk about some 3 album runs, look at Tupac. Look at Tupac's 3 albums.
I'm talking about in 5 years though. Because when you say 3 albums though, right? You can do 3 albums and it might take you 10 years to do the 3 albums. But I'm talking about in a 5-year run, Ice Cube had 4 classic albums in 5 years, bro. Backing them out. Bang, 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 bang. It's incredible, bro. Like Ice Cube is very underrated in the grand scheme of all hip hop.
I agree, and I think we should have that conversation. Let us know down in the comments if you want us to have that conversation. But I mean, maybe I need to go back and listen to some of these Ice Cube albums. It's been a little while since I went back and listened to this 4 album run. But Success, I think back to the Kingmaker track listing. I think Success is a banger.
I like it.
Success is a banger. Success is a
track. I like it. Grown man song, bro.
Right.
Grown man song. Yeah.
Notified. King T. Again, banger. I like this track. This is one of those West Coast beats that really grew on me. I like this one really a lot. Of course, I've heard of Code 187. I've heard this artist's name before. And King T beats too. He did really good on this too.
Dope song.
What you like? All right, we're right back. What you like? We're right back to this sound where it's like, you know, I understand why it's here. I get it why it's here. I can't really say much. I know who Guap Dad 4000 is. I'm a big fan of. I'm a somewhat fan of his. I like his stuff. But what you like is again, it's an impactful hyphy West Coast track. I understand why it's here.
I love the bass line on it. The bass line rides, and I like that it has the boom bap style drums on there, though, bro. It's dope. Like I said, real quick, I've never listened to Guap Dad 4000, bro, and I've never listened to.
He's been around a long time.
No, I never have, bro. I never listened to either one of them. But with that being said, I like the track though, bro. It's real dope. I think it fits the theme of the album.
Bro. Yeah, it fits the album. It fits. I mean, that's why I said for me, this is to my ears, it's like, but end of the day, featuring Damo Genesis and Trey Capital. When I saw Damo Genesis on a feature, I was like, oh, and I think Damo Genesis is one of those artists that just didn't. I mean, you know, he was with Odd Future, that crew and group and everything. I think he's good. I think he's a beast. Didn't come up with enough music for me. But end of the day, I like this track. I feel like we're going back to the grown ability, mature version of this track. I like this track a lot. And makes me want to check out who's Trey Capital also. I like his verse on this too.
I agree. You know, the funny thing about it though, man, is that even though this album has a lot of features, it don't feel overly featured for
No,
at the same time. And
no,
maybe it's because you kind of got songs like Success, where it's just him. You still have, because of the playlist being so long, right?
right,
It's not like some of those albums where you hear that only got 12 songs and all of them have features. I
right.
think that the playlist is long enough and you have enough solo songs on it to him,
Yep.
of just him, where you can still get these features and it don't feel overly saturated with it though.
And
But
I feel
I
like
like this one too.
the solo tracks are bangers too. The solo tracks
Solos,
really it
the
really brings the
solos,
tracks with features together, in my opinion.
absolutely.
And the way the
Yeah.
placement, if you look at some of the placement, I was like, it's perfect placement. Perfect
Yep.
placement. He kind of
Yep.
put all the features together and kind of in between put his own song. And I thought it was the last track, Kingmaker, banger,
Yep. Banger.
banger, video
Banger.
banger. I was like, he's saying,
Yep.
man, that track is dope. Man, he is saying some things in there where it's like, man, I'm just like, yo, this is. I felt that. I felt that.
I like that. So you know what's funny? I like that this is an older Xzibit, but you can tell the rapping ability is never gone anywhere, bro. And that this is one of the things. So, you know, this is the one thing I think that's interesting, right? The one thing I like about this song and this whole album, right, is that like I listened to the last Ice Cube album, right? And one of the things that I think that's interesting is that I'm working with a couple of older artists, right? And you know, and what I don't want the older artists to sound like is an old man rapping, right? Like, yeah, I don't want you to just get out here and you sound like an old you.
Right.
And I think that the Ice Cube album sounds like an older guy rapping, right? This Xzibit album and this song seems like he's an older guy, but it's like I'm seasoned, I'm more well thought out, I'm well calculated. But the rapping is the last thing that you ever gonna have to worry about. And the fact that he still has that raspy tone, that's from day one. I think that it carries well to the entire project. And in this particular song, though, man, I think that it's dope, man. But he doesn't sound like, oh, that's old. Somebody might say, oh, that you mean that's Xzibit from Pimp My Ride, but it's like, oh, y'all don't remember when the Xzibit had the bars like that, right?
I think
And
it
I
goes
think
to
that
the production too, also, where like you
yeah,
said, that Ice Cube album, it does sound a little like, man,
does,
it is sound a little old. It's tough. It's a tough listen, but I think the
yeah.
production kind of really makes it. This album, Xzibit's album, it kind of it matches his cadence and his sound and his aggressiveness very well.
What I appreciate is that this album does, you know, like as much as listen, I love me some down south 808 heavy songs. I love trap beats. But this doesn't have none of that to me. And I like that, right? I like that in the essence of it, it sticks to a very West Coast sound and album. And even when you can get into like that Bay Area sound, right, where it does have some elements of trap. This one doesn't really tap into it as much though, man. So overall, I think it's fire, bro. I think it's definitely one that I got on my saved playlist to go on repeat, man.
So
Definitely,
what do you get? What do you? Well, for me, this album is going to be on my end of the year albums list. Of course, I've said this before. Uh, we've talked about ratings on this show. Me and you went back and forth about it. So I'm going to let you go first. As far as what rating do you give this album?
oddly enough, I would give it about a 4.
Okay, 4 out of 5.
A 4 out of 5. And let me
5.
tell you this.
Okay.
I'm giving it a different kind of 4 out of 5 than I did when I gave the Lloyd Banks.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So the reason why I say this is that for starters, the albums are completely different, two different kind of artists, yada yada yada.
Right.
But what I appreciate about this one is that when we talked just now, I heard you call a song a banger at least 8 times, right?
Bangers on here. Yep. I said one banger on Lloyd Banks. Well, maybe.
Yes, 3. One banger. Yeah. And so that's why when I tell you that projects need them things, them bangers, bro, I think this one has the bangers. And so for me, I'm the kind of artist where radio friendly songs matter to me, right? Songs that you can do videos to matter to me, right? And I think that this album is full of those songs. the reason why I give it the same rating that I give it as the Lloyd Banks is that oddly enough, it's a compliment to the Lloyd Banks album indirectly, because while I think this album is more of my flavor,
Yeah.
it's a nod to the bars on the Banks that he could still, that I would give him around a 4.
Yeah.
I still would say 3.8, but pretty close to a 4. But I personally just like the Xzibit album more, but I appreciate the Banks album in a different way from the Xzibit though.
So
So for me,
I want to say this.
4.
So I'm gonna give this album a 8.75. I don't think and I guess that's in terms of like a 4.5 to a 5, but I'm gonna give this album a 8.75. This album really surprised me. It's gonna go on my end of the year list. And I think, I continue to go back to this album. Any album that I continue to go back to and really it kind of gets stuck in my head, I'm like, oh, this is I want to see how this album does through the test of time. Really, really going to be interested to see on that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point, because see, this is the thing I think. I think that the reason why I would expect for this album to pass the test of time is because it's a themed album, right? It's a West Coast theme and West Coast vibe album. And I think that vibe is timeless. It can shift some, right? But the vibe is the vibe, right? And it's just, I love it though, bro. I was like you, I was very surprised with the overall album in terms of the rapping, the production, the presentation, everything about it caught me off guard, because to be honest, like there's been very few times over the last 2 years that I've heard an album where I was so blown away by the totality of the album though, bro. And this one just surprised the mess out of me.
I want to just give a couple notes here, and you're probably going to be surprised by this, right? As I stated that he has a collaboration with Conor McGregor. Also, I don't know if you knew this, right? And I'm going to fact check this in a few minutes. This is the first collaboration he's done with Ice Cube. Were you aware of that?
No.
Was not aware of that. Was not as the first collaboration he's done with Ice Cube. Also, just to name a couple of the producers here, of course, Dr. Dre, Swiss Beats, Them Joints, will.i.am. You mentioned another producer here, and he actually did produce that track, Battle Cat produced that, which is very interesting. DJ Khalil, Focus, and Beat Butcher. So a lot of West Coast producers, but also a lot of like relevant, still kind of producers doing work today, man. So really dope. So this album's definitely gonna be on my top albums of the list, man. I give it an 8.75. I think this is a very dope album. Very, very dope album. Any final thoughts, man?
So no, I'm right there with you. I am somewhat surprised that we agree on, like, I really love it. And even on the rating scale, you have it rated higher than I would, because I wanted to give a little bit of room for perfection for a 5 mic album to see how far is this from a true 5 mic. And while it's short of those, it doesn't fall very far from it.
It doesn't fall very far, but I think another good thing is that it's been out for a little while too. We've got to sit on it for a little while.
Yes, yeah. So 4, I might go back and listen to it in another month and be like, yeah, this is getting close to 4.5.
I've been finding myself listening to it probably once or twice a week now. Yeah. So kind of let everybody know how they can find you, what you guys got going on right now.
Listen, it's Charlie Venus on all social medias. You can check out my website, charlievenus.com. Also, look out for my Red Like Mike drops, man. I got new music that I'm dropping real soon. Yeah, man. I'm actually sitting here set up now to go ahead and finish up shooting one and doing a couple edits. But I'm pretty excited though, man. I'm actually getting in a space now where I can go ahead and start dropping more music. So probably over the next month or two though, man. I just have a few projects that are on the way.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait. We're definitely gonna review that here on the channel also whenever that comes out, man. Definitely appreciate it, man. Shout out to Charlie Venus. Shout out to Ace Kennedy. Shout out to the Slash Brothers podcast, man. Funny podcast. Really, really great podcast. I can't wait till we get a show over there, because they tend to make some room for me, hopefully, because I start a lot of trouble over there.
We like trouble, man. It's always a good conversation, bro.
I started a lot of trouble over there. Also, man, let us know, man, about this top 50 artists, man. Really, definitely got to have a conversation. Also, make sure you guys like and subscribe to also the Slash Brothers podcast. Subscribe to Charlie Venus and what he's got going on as far as musically and kind of their platform over there, man. Great guys, man. Also, like and subscribe to the Rap Review Room page here, man. Like I said, if you're an up-and-coming artist and you want your music reviewed here, don't hesitate to reach out, as this is a platform that we review up-and-coming artists. I just ask that you follow me here. Also follow me on Instagram. Definitely get your music reviewed here, y'all. I'm Philosophical from the Rap Review Room, man. I really appreciate Charlie, you taking the time out to be coming on the show, making time for the show, man. Definitely, man. We're out, y'all, man. Peace out.